Angela Regal.
Mr. Speaker, will the Minister admit that the Internet has allowed the formation of chat rooms such as 4chan and 8chan, online communities such as the Incels, those involuntary celibates who are misogynistic and blame women for their lack of access to sex, and also the bubbles where both ISIS and now we've seen neo-Nazi far-right white supremacist groups gather their followers? And does he acknowledge and does he have a plan for dealing with the grooming and the escalation of evil and violence that is growing in these unregulated spaces?
The Right Honourable Lady makes absolutely the right point, and there are a lot of characteristics across the spectrum of extremists, violent extremists, whether that is Islamist, Daesh, ISIL extremists or far-right. They often use the same methods. They often appeal to sometimes the same type of people. It is also the case that both this side of the House and her front bench have been grappling with how we deal with safe spaces, either in the material world or indeed on the online world, because it is, a characteristic of the 21st century is this safe space concept, failed state or the internet, where these people are reinforcing their prejudice and joining up. You could argue 10 years ago people sat in their bedrooms on their own and spoke to no one. Now they can speak to thousands, and that is being used to seduce people, to groom people and to twist people. So we start in our schools, and that's why I am pleased that both the state and local education authorities and primary schools start teaching children about safe use of the internet, but also, actually, some of these big CSPs, Google, Facebook, etc., do go out to schools and start that process at a young age about teaching those children about how to behave on an internet and what to be careful of. But it is a growing challenge. The online white paper, hopefully, will be the doorway for...
I absolutely hate this attitude. I hate the way that they approach this. I hate everything about it. I hate the fact that they're talking about something they don't understand, and I really hate the fact that they're going to do exactly the wrong thing. Right? Ostracizing people is not the way to de-radicalize them. That's just it. There's no question about it. It doesn't ever solve anything. It doesn't make the problems go away. There is only one way to make these things go away, and that is, unfortunately for you guys, to normalize them. What you should do is bring someone who knows what they're talking about into Parliament or onto TV, wherever it is you want to have the conversation, and actually interview them about their beliefs, interview them about their problems and what it is they want and why they want them. Because if you can talk to them as a human being, they will likely talk to you back as a human being and won't grow ever more resentful of you. And maybe, just maybe, there is something about what they've said that is true. Maybe we can adopt that thing that is true and not have that thing become a kernel, a kind of a nexus, a point of conflict around which these people in their bedrooms will gather. Treating these people for having done something wrong because their life experiences have led them to certain conclusions, led them to the things that they believe, will not make them less radical. It will only cement them further in their belief that they have something true on their side, and you guys are liars for not being able to talk about it. They will say that you are persecuting them. They will say that you are mistreating them, because in a way you are. Rather than treating them as if they are like evil people, why don't you just try and rehabilitate them? I mean, what harm could that do? What harm could it do to actually bring these people into the discourse, into the dialogue, and say, look, we are going to respect you as citizens and individuals, and we are going to listen to what you have to say. Now, you might be completely unreasonable, and we'll have to say, well, I'm sorry, we can't agree to that. That's a really unreasonable position, but at least we heard you out. No harm will come of just hearing them out. However, harm can come when you relegate them and persecute them to these online spaces where they're increasingly marginalised, and then you go after the online spaces in which they feel already marginalised. I mean, we keep saying this is going to drive them underground, and you're like, yeah, well, I want further underground. I want to further persecute them. And so when they come up, literally none of you will understand what's going on when they start shooting places up or blowing things up or doing other things that are absolutely terrible and we want to avoid. You are going to make that happen by doing what you're doing, you fucking ignorant boomers. Stop it. You don't have the expertise to deal with what you're talking about. You don't understand it. You can't fix any of these fucking things, and you are too arrogant to go and talk to anyone who might. And I'm not saying me. There are lots and lots of other people on the internet who aren't these like crazy radicals, but who can explain to you what their problems are and can, I don't know, maybe help direct you into what we can do to try and make these people less radical. Wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't it be good to finally actually de-radicalize someone rather than continually creating the conditions over and over and over again in which we find radical lunatics who have lunatic beliefs because you have marginalized them so much you're just like, look, nothing you say is true and therefore we're not going to listen to you. It's not going to work. The sooner you get past this attitude of gatekeeping, the better it will be for everyone else. Literally everyone else.